have to present it as like tackling waste, fraud, and abuse. I famously said something about tackling waste, fraud, and abuse, and the Republican Party's general lack of interest in tackling waste, fraud, and abuse when I talked about Democrats' responsibility because they're so fucking weak. This is why we need better leadership in the Democratic Party, right? Updated to include newly released New York Times, Siena, and Marist polls. Trump and congressional Republicans still starting off shouldering more of the blame by a 14-point margin, though notably, there is a large pox on both of their houses contingent as well. Okay? Government shutdown blame, September 2025 publicly released polls show that there is around a 14-point margin on average. Okay? So this spells that people will correctly blame the party in charge for a government shutdown. But that can change. That can change if the Democrats don't message around this. Okay? Because this is a narrative battle that will take place. A battle of narratives that will take place. And the Republicans are very quick to just seize, because they're fearful of a shutdown themselves. The Republicans are trying to, on the one hand, claim that the Democrats are doing this for, funding illegals, right? And then on the other hand, they're even saying that they'll take advantage of the shutdown and fire more federal workers, like permanently. No, the fuck they won't, for the record. That is the reason why they're also begging all the fucking regulatory agency members that they fired with the Doge cuts to come back to work right now. So just remember, this is a moment for bravery, okay? This is a moment to exhibit just a shred of fucking courage in the face of this fascist administration doing a whole bunch of fuck shit.
Of this political rhetoric.
Republicans say that Democrats should support funding the government without any strings attached. So today in the Senate, they are going to force a vote on a bill that does not include any of the Democratic demands, but they still need the support of at least 7 Senate Democrats in order to get that bill passed. The bottom line here, Robin, someone has to compromise to avert this shutdown, and neither side is backing down.
It does appear that way, Rachel. All right, thanks to you.
If the government shuts down, talk about being injured, at midnight, the impact may be felt at airports all around the country. More than 58,000 TSA employees and 13,000 air traffic controllers would be working without pay. Nobody likes that.
Hopefully, I'm going to get the fuck out of here before this happens. Oh, my Lord.
Chris Van Cleve is at Denver's airport with more on what flyers can expect. Chris, good morning to you. What can you tell us?
TSA has limited the items that may be carried.
Well, good morning, Gail. We don't expect major disruptions tomorrow or the rest of this week if people show up at an airport like here in Denver. But if this shutdown is measured in weeks, not days, or stretches even longer than that, that's when we need to prepare for the potential of disruptions and delays. And I'm basing that off what we saw play out back in 2018 when we had a 35-day shutdown starting in December. As soon as that first missed paycheck, so think about 2 weeks in, we started to see sick calls from TSA officers really increase at airports across the country. That led to longer lines of checkpoints, so it took people longer to get through security. Some checkpoints had to be closed, and in one case in Miami, they even had to close an entire terminal because there weren't enough TSA officers to staff it. Now, TSA officers are not high-paid government workers, so missing a paycheck can have a profound impact. Air traffic controllers would also work without pay, and in January of 2019, air traffic control sick calls resulted in significant flight disruptions in the New York City area shortly before the shutdown ended. There is a shortage of air traffic controllers. During a shutdown, hiring and training of new hires generally stops. That would slow efforts to get more controllers on the job quickly. Amtrak should operate normally because while it receives federal funds, it is operated as an independent entity. Travelers heading to national parks, they're likely to be in for a disappointment. Most national parks will close to the public during a shutdown. The U.S. Travel Association estimates the cost of a shutdown to the U.S. travel economy to be about $1 billion a week, Nate.
All right, Chris, we'll stay tuned.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that.
What this government
I need people to understand that
all
this is false framing, okay? Whenever you hear a Republican, or even Democrats do this too, obviously, when they have an initiative, when they want to do something, they present it with false framing. They can't just be like, we want to cut Medicaid so that we give massive tax cuts to the super wealthy, even though that is obviously the point, right? That's the point. That's what they're doing. That's the reason why they're doing this. But obviously they're not going to present it as that. So just remember when like Donald Trump or the Republicans in general present why they are so forceful on this Medicaid cut, the famous Florida Republican, not going to say it again, but Rick Scott would be criminally prosecuted if these guys actually cared about waste, fraud, and abuse. If the Republicans truly cared about it, the Republican politicians would actually look to their own ranks on people that have participated in record-breaking waste, fraud, and abuse on the side of Medicare and Medicaid. So, obviously, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. That is clear. And here is perhaps one of the better communicators on the Democratic Party side, explaining as to why they want to force a shutdown potentially if they don't get concessions from the Republican administration.
about is whether Republicans are going to be able to get away with raising health insurance premiums by 75%.
Why haven't you watched the content, Nuke? What is this? Drama guy, government shutdown imminent, maybe going to war with Venezuela, and this chatter is a time traveler. I think I have watched the context, Nuke. At this point, there is a bro. Rewind it into spring. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this or not, but not only did I watch it, but I did like an 8-hour response to it. Here it is. There you go. Maybe you were in a coma and you didn't see it, but this was Disarming the Content Nuke Part 1. I went through it for 8 hours, as a matter of fact. Look. And you can go through the different parts of it. I mean, it has 1 million views. I'm trolling. Oh, okay. Well, let's continue.
Yes, 75% on average for 20 million Americans. And in addition to that, throwing 15 million people off the health care they have by making devastating cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And you know what that means? That means, not according to Bernie Sanders, but according to people who have studied the issue, academics, tens of thousands of Americans are going to die unnecessarily. Well, you know what? I am not going to support that. And that is why the Republicans have got to sit down, they have got to negotiate, and they've got to protect the health care needs of the American people.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
Sexual panther.
Right now,
Nancy Pelosi slams Republicans over Trump's role in looming shutdown. I'm glad that we dusted off. We dusted off the Speaker Emerita. Okay. The Grand Wizard of the Democrat KKK rat party, Nancy motherfucking Pelosi. Okay. We dusted her off and we brought her back. seemingly, since Hakeem Jeffries is not doing the job. She uses bad words here. Let's take a look.
It's really important for the American people to recognize that every shutdown we have had has been a Republican shutdown, including this one. This one even more so because they have the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. It's important to note that they do not believe in governance, so a shutdown of government is a...
I'm not even kidding when I say this. She's literally better at 875 years old than Hakeem Jeffries is. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but she is a better communicator than Hakeem Jeffries is. And remember, Hakeem Jeffries was groomed for this position by Nancy fucking Pelosi. Okay? It is crazy. I know it's a pretty low bar, but that's how low the bar is. That's how low the standard is. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's true.
Victory for them. They love that. Government is shut down. And when they've shut it down in the past, and when we've come back in, the president has said, I hear what they're saying. It's all unserious and ridiculous. In fact, I've listened to their shit, and I tell them to go f themselves.
God damn. Can she say that? Pop off, Queen. Pop off, Queen.
So that's the. I can't believe I use that word. My kids will be shocked. My grandchildren will be further shocked. I'm just quoting the President of the United States. And so I think the leverage springs not from any shared values with him, if that's what he thinks healthcare is about, and yourself, but that it is something that they're hearing from.
Wait, what the fuck? Okay, what? Okay, that is okay. I'm sorry. What the fuck is happening? Someone needs to wash their mouth with soap. Okay? That's crazy. What?
And so I think the leverage springs not from any shared values with him, if that's what he thinks healthcare is about, and yourself, but
is this AI? What the hell? Dark Nancy. Dark Nancy is alive, dude. Unshackle Dark Nancy. She's getting old. She's allowed to say it.
But that it is something that they're hearing from constituents, that they do not want to see the healthcare costs go up.
By the way, she has the same hand thing that Trump has. Dude, everyone is so fucking old in this stupid ass government, man. They're gonna kill all of us. I swear to God. And they don't even care because they're all decaying. They're all like 80 years old. Oh my Lord, man.
The Affordable Care Act subsidies are not extended. You know, this is so funny because I'm an appropriator, and over the years I've always said, left to their own devices, appropriators can get this job done. They know what the priorities are. They know where you have to negotiate, where you have a difference of opinion, which you must respect, and that it's only the intervention of Donald Trump that is making this difficult.
Some of the questions of the White House press corps, boy, has Nancy Pelosi lost her mind? Here's Steny Hoyer. Hoyer's office is handing these cars out to the House Democrats as they leave their caucus meeting today. OMB Director Russell Vought in a private 2023 speech. We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. When they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they're increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down. We want to put them in trauma. By the way, the people that he's talking about are people that are in this community, you know, like people that work for the national parks, people that work for the FDA, people that work for the CDC, people that work for the SEC, all of these numerous different government regulatory agencies that work tirelessly to ensure that your meat that you purchase at the grocery store isn't poison, that you know when like awful weather incidents are taking place, natural disasters are imminent, for example. Those are the people that they're talking about as like villains, okay? Scientists, the woke nerds, if you will. Oh. It's incredible how much we are cooking ourselves, okay? It is incredible. Enton, Mr. Holy Toledo is back. He's going to be talking about this is a huge blistering opinion from a federal judge. I'm going to get to it in a second. That's a huge deal that just took place. And we'll get to that again. Trump is live again. He never shuts up.
Running up the back of his neck and a lump on his head, but you would never know it from his personality.
Okay, I don't care about this right now. Let's just continue with this. There's too much going on. If there's anything interesting or unique that Donald Trump talks about coming up, we'll get to it. But did you ever talk about Eric Adams dropping out? No, because there's a million things happening right now that is like Eric Adams dropping out wasn't even that big of a deal. We watched this. Wait, we watched this this is from 6 hours ago.
All right, a live look at Capitol Hill where a lot and not a lot is happening right now. Time is quickly running out for lawmakers to come to a compromise and do their jobs to avoid a government shutdown, keep the government funded. This morning, there is still no signs of a deal on the horizon. CNN's Harry Enton is running the numbers on this in a specific way, how one party you see in the numbers is facing more pressure than the others, and that's the Democrats. Why?
Why is it that the Democrats, in my mind, are facing more pressure, those Democratic leaders? And that is because their base thinks that their party leaders are weak. Look at this.
Well, their base knows that the party leaders are weak because the party leaders are weak. And this is a thing that I kept repeating over and over again. At least the Republican base thinks that Trump is awesome. Okay. At least there is like a base at all for the Republican Party. Both of the parties are unpopular. Donald Trump's approval ratings are underwater. Having said that, his own party's base of support still supports him. Democrats don't even have their own party's base of support any longer because of all of the issues that I have been railing about over and over and over again. Meanwhile, liberals have been yelling at me instead of trying to fucking yell at the Democrats alongside their parents who have become radicalized over the course of the past couple of months, demanding that Democratic politicians put their bodies on the fucking line. Meanwhile, you got dumb fuck neoliberals on the internet still trying to relitigate this discourse. There has to be a reason for this. And the reason is not because all the Barbaras and Debras are tuning into the fucking Hasanabi broadcast to develop some sense of discontent towards the Democratic administration. Okay? They're just literally looking at the situation with Donald Trump destroying the American federal government, Donald Trump destroying the Constitution, spitting on it every day, wiping his fucking ass cheeks with it, and going, where are the Democrats? Why are they not doing anything? Why are they not channeling the discontent that we feel right now? That's it. And in the absence of good leadership from the establishment Democrats, who unironically think that if they just stick around and quietly just wait for this period to go away, that they'll be rewarded in the midterm elections for their inaction. And it's very stupid for them to do so. It's a very stupid decision for them because this is going to lead to, one, more discontent and obviously mass mobilization. And then that mass mobilization is going to be actively stamped out by the administration. They're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to even like make a big fuss about the Constitution being in tatters. Okay, the Republicans are lighting the Constitution on fire, lighting the First Amendment on fire, for example, and there is no guarantee that the Democrats will be rewarded for simply being the opposition party when their own audience doesn't fucking think that they are the actual opposition. That's why they keep saying, you guys suck. You're complicit. You're complicit. You're engaging in an act of appeasement. Anyway, Harry Emden.
Democrats on who has strong leaders. Look at this. 54% say neither party, 54% of Democrats say neither party has strong leaders. Among Republicans, 80% of their base thinks Republicans have strong leaders. Yet among Democrats, just get this, just 35% of Democrats say their party has strong leaders. When you add together this 54% with this 11%, we're talking about 2/3 of Democrats who say neither party or Republicans have stronger leaders, as compared to just 35% who say their own parties have strong leaders. As I said at the top, weak is how Democrats view their leaders in Washington.
But the facing more pressure too, does this suggest, and we'll continue with this, but the question then is, does this suggest that the pressure is for them to cut a deal or to stand against what they think is what Republicans want? That remains kind of the question in and of this. But getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Who gets stuff done?
Yeah, exactly. And this is the other thing. It's not just that Democrats think that their party leaders are weak. They also think they don't get anything done. I mean, take a look here. Okay, Democrats and who get things done. Again, it's just 50. We get this 50% of Democrats say neither party gets anything done. Just 41% of Democrats say their own party gets stuff done. When you add in this 9% of Democrats who say the Republican Party is more likely to get things done with neither party, we're talking about 3 in 5 Democrats who say neither party or Republicans are more likely to get things done than the Democratic Party. And again, that is the complete inverse of how Republicans feel, because 77% of Republicans think their own party leaders are likely to get things done.
I wonder why. Perhaps it's because the Republicans have designed a political environment where they do offer some red meat to the base, no matter how silly or inconsequential it might seem, as opposed to the material realities that must be addressed, as opposed to like the economy, right? They don't do the economy shit, but at least they go, oh, we're going to dominate transgenders. We're going to dominate the migrants. So at least for the base of support within the Republican Party, they go, well, it kind of feels like they're doing something. It feels like they're doing some of the things that they promised, and they're relatively happy. It takes a long time for those guys to recognize that their pockets are still hurting, despite in spite of the reality that the Republicans are in charge, right? But that is the reason why they hammer on the trans-Tifa narratives. They hammer on the transgender narratives. They hammer on the idea that like undocumented migrants are responsible for a lot of crime and all this shit. That's the reason. It's so that they just keep their base of support together. They recognize that there are radical elements within their base, and they offer them treats. They offer them treats that are, objectively violent for broad swaths of the public, and actually create an environment of tremendous discontent.
To the sauce.
What do I do first?
You've already combined the base ingredients, so now grate the pear and gently combine it with the base sauce.
All right, I think the Wi-Fi might be messed up. Sorry, back to you, Mark.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
I love seeing antisocial dudes like Mark Zuckerberg try to do these events themselves, instead of like handing it off to some guy you squeezed $100,000 to who